topic at my studio, and in general, the men are mostly interested to hear about adult photo shoots with hot models. That's the topic today. With hot models, adult photo shoots, it means adults, men and women and couples. Okay, because men would book a photo shoot with mostly female models. Okay, sometimes with male models. Women would book mostly with men model, but sometimes with ladies. Okay, and couples have two fantasies. One is a threesome fantasy, and the other is a couple fantasy shoot. Okay, and the threesome fantasy is men, woman, man, woman, right? And a couple fantasy is when one woman and two men. Okay, situation, right? In a couple fantasy, not necessarily that the man is that the husband, that the man husband boyfriend is present during the photo shoot. Okay, so that's the thing. However, even if he is not present, the nerves and the excitement and so on, the person is waiting anyway, waiting somewhere in this car, in a coffee shop, in the changing room, he's waiting, right? But very often in couple fantasy happens this, that they are watching. Okay, and this is kind of a standard scenario, right? So this is like a most popular topic, and my studio is popular for arranging adult fantasy shoots, right? And my studio create adult photography in erotic style, boudoir glamour, and that is kind of a scenarios without penetration. Okay, it's just suggesting, it's just acting, it's just playing out. It's a role play situation, right? And there is another side where couples would like to have much more, okay, much more than boudoir photography or glamour photography. They want to have intimate shoot, yeah, intimate shoot. And very often request is this: if couple is confident, they would ask straight away, do you do this type of photo shoot, because we want to do this and this and this. If the couple or a person is not confident, they will start from very far. Okay, how much is the shoot, and how much is this, and how much can I hire the model? Okay, what you would like to do with the model? Of course, there will be a full-on shoot, right? So there are different people. Different people have different confidence level for a photo shoot. Okay, and I offer and I help individuals and couples to create scenarios and fantasies that they would like. Okay, they would like. So most of the time, right, I am that person who is a link between my client and the model. Okay, and before, when I just started this idea, okay, and people say, oh, this is very clever, you're doing photo shoots with models, and I say, no, it wasn't my idea at all. Okay, it wasn't me who actually who actually made this idea. Okay, I have been shooting in my studio adults, and there were so many guys. No, seriously, you cannot imagine how many. Okay, there were so many guys who were scared or shy or how to say, needed help. Okay, needed help. They were coming to do an erotic photo shoot, adult photo shoot, not because of the pictures, but because of the state that they are in. Okay, they wanted to change themselves into more confident and more how to say, approachable person, because people getting shy sometimes with the woman when they do not have an experience. Okay, and men get shy when they need to undress in front of the stranger, right? Men scared how they will perform, what will happen to them. Okay, would they be able to show their best and to have an erection? That's the question. So models are the solution. Because when you have a model, you have a very sexy lady with you, experienced lady, right? Who knows what to do, knows how to go around you, knows how to touch you, knows how to undress you, knows how to flirt with you, talk to you. You basically, when you're shooting this type of photo shoot with someone else, you are not focused so much on yourself, right? You've been distracted. So you're losing that nervousness, you're getting more relaxed, okay? If you have a very, very, funny and sexy lady, she will make this photo shoot, very easy to follow, right? And she will do all the things that, guys would want during the photo shoot, right? So they will usually we will start from the portraits and they will shoot portraits and then he will slowly undress her and then she will undress him, okay, and then depending on the photo shoot experience, okay, models are different kind, okay. It can be a tantric model, which will be a sensual massage, body to body oil session, okay, on camera. There is an escort, there is a dating, yes, and there is a dominatrix experience, okay. Dominatrix experience it's a it depends on the dominatrix lady, but the reason why I'm laughing is because sometimes dominatrix experience becomes so real that the clients even cannot believe it, how realistic it could be. They got beaten so much during the photo shoot that they must heal for months, for months. And I've shot, like seriously purple skin during the photo shoot and bruises. This type of a situation, right? But I am just saying, I am very open-minded, and people who would like to be humiliated, people who would like to be beaten up during the photo shoot, they most likely grow up in an environment where their parents were shouting on them, and it actually been recorded in their memory as a love experience, okay, the moment when they can relax, right, they can release the stress, right. So they're looking for these ladies who are seriously in all latex and leather outfits, right, with the whip or with the collar or with the other stuff, right, to torture. They're looking for those ladies to release their stress because they got a lot of stress in life, right? Different situations, different photo shoots. Adults have different needs depending on how they grow up and where they grow up and with who they grow up. Yeah, they accumulated a certain knowledge, certain feelings, and as an adult they processing that information during erotic photo shoot, adult photo shoot, right? So coming back to a photo shoot with hot and sexy models, right? Models are men and female, right? There is someone in between, of course, but let's just talk about men and female at the moment. If someone wants a trans or a gay model, I also can arrange that, right? For very special price. So female models are quite pricey, this is I repeat this many times, this is the only field they actually get paid more than men, right? And women in my studio, I like work with premium models, okay? And premium models are pricey, okay? The reason why I like to work with premium models because of the energy, okay? Premium models know their worth and they create a different photo shoot for the client, right? And it's better experience for me, okay. So I don't really hire a models who wants to get something cheaper. I'm not interested in that type of models, but it's okay. I am telling the client that if you would like to bring your model, I will just charge you as a couple, okay. And that's fine, you will find your model. There were not many guys who actually came back after the looking of the model, right? But there were few. Okay, usually people would like to hire with me because models are reliable. Okay, the models check their health, they look great, they are on the high standard, they are in a, how to say, in a good mental state, great physical state. Okay, it's a great energy. I work only with people with great energy, you know. And so they are reliable. It means that they will arrive on time. And in general, they will arrive. Okay? The trick with models is this. Even if you go and look for a model, you will see it's not going to be cheap anyway. If that's going to be cheap, they most likely not arrive. Okay? It happened to me when clients would book a photo shoot with the model and they've been arranging by themselves and the model did not turn up. Okay? That's not my problem. Happened to me, right? So which photo shoots are most popular? Most popular at the moment is cocktail fantasy session. Yeah, they like to have threesome, right? It's it's kind of okay photo shoot for me, but the most popular is still cocktail fantasy session, where I am hiring models, male models, and male models they want most of the time with the big size. You know, they have something different, right? For a woman, that's the husband decision. They both choosing, you know, they both choosing. So how it works at my studio? I take a deposit, and if I'm suspicious of the clients, I will check the ID. I will check their age. You know, it's a must, right? It's a must situation. If you're hiring a facilities, if you're hiring a photographer, if you're hiring a model, right? The deposit is has to be paid in advance. When deposit arrives, then I can contact the models and find out who are available and then speak to them and tell them what is going to be a shoot about, okay? And how much the client is offering, and then I will get a response from the models. Okay, how did I get contacts of the models? Is because I'm working in adult business for 20 years. I shot a lot of people, and I gathered the contact who would like to create photo shoots. You know, photo shoots. So that's how I have a selection. Okay, very often guys especially, you know, they think that I'm an escort agency. Oh, where is this page, you know, on your website where I can see all the models? You know, and I'm saying I'm not an escort agency. And all the models will not be available at that time of that date. I would need the specific details. What will be the day, what time of the day, and then I will require a model if that model is available on specific date, right? So that's how it works. Deposit first. If I'm not able to book a model for that person or something is not right, I would refund in full. Okay? And refuse to do a photo shoot. That's how it works. Okay? I don't like people when they taking drugs or they drunk in the studio, you know? Don't like that. It makes photo shoot more complicated, right? So I'm telling in advance, because there are some guys who think that they will make their wife drunk or they will make her, they will drag her and she will agree to do a cocktail fantasy shoot. If the cocktail fantasy shoot situation is this, very often I am asking a question the client who is inquiring, okay, does your wife know? Does your wife know what you are planning to book? Okay, because very often this is just a fantasy. They want to know information, they want to talk about it, they want to, you know, dream about the shoot upcoming, but the wife doesn't know and she will never agree. Okay, so before even going into conversation and into details, I need a deposit and I need a confirmation from his wife. You know, if they pay the money, then I'm thinking, okay, maybe the wife is shy, okay, and she and she will be fine with it, right? When I have a photo shoot with the couple fantasy session, I would always recommend to have a makeover for a lady, you know, because then the nerves come down. She must have a makeover because, you know, it's like a date meeting the model first time. She have to look the best, and her energy have to be, you know, in the place. So she will have time to do her makeup, to do her hair, and she will have time to relax, right? I offer glass of bubbly, right? Glass of bubbly. I offer, you know, any kind of other cocktails, drinks, you know. So people get nervous. They want to chill, relax. Not everyone is sober, you know, want to be sober during the photo shoot. If they want a cocktail or two, that's fine. Okay, it's totally understandable, you know, for me because photo shoot, okay, usually it's the first time ever experience, okay, when you shoot adult erotica boudoir, especially when you shoot with the model, hot and sexy model. Okay, so people are nervous. Ladies are nervous. Ladies are always asking me this question. You know, they want the model to fancy them. You know, and so I have to choose. You see how I'm choosing the model, because I'm doing this for such a long time, and I spoke with thousands and thousands of men talking about women, what they like, what kind of the fantasy they like, right? I kind of have a sense and a feeling which model would suit her. Okay, so when I'm booking a couple fantasy shoot, I would ask a lady's picture. You know, I would ask a lady's picture. It is normal because I would need to send it to my makeup artist. Okay, and makeup artist needs to prepare as well to see what the makeup will suit the lady and how long are the hair, you know, and in general plan the makeover process because I like makeover to be fast. Okay, however, it's not that fast. The fastest makeover I can do is 1 hour. Okay, the ladies cannot do faster than that, right? So, but it's a very good time, you know, for a lady to stay in the studio, chill, and prepare. For a guy, for a husband, it's a boring time because he's doing nothing, right? So, very often, okay, we are discussing with a husband outfits, ideas, and just choosing, you know, lingerie, checking shoes, you know, checking accessories, and just preparing for a photo shoot. Very often is this happening, right? When the photo shoot is being, you know, prepared, and I usually book a model to arrive later, okay, because we need to prepare, we need to dress, we need to you know, try a few things, right? So that's what I do. I book model to arrive later, and if we have a spare time, I start shooting portraits of the husband, okay, and setting up the lights with him, right? So I am occupying everyone's time anyway, okay? No one is getting bored in there, right? So that's what happens. Photo shoots with models, it's a very, very rare experience, and this is the experience that make people nervous, okay? That make people, you know, feel something, okay? The reason why I think that this is a very important topic, because it's a therapy for couples. Okay, there are couples who are disconnected, right? And they are on the edge of infidelity, right? Or they are getting bored together, or it's just like too long and there is no passion, there is no desire, right? And they, sorry, and they need to. I just kicked my stand, and they need to change. They want a better relationship. They want a deeper connection. They want, you know, better life, better communication, better everything, better intimacy, right? And they don't know how to go there and how to get there. So adult photo shoots and bringing models on set change the dimension of this couple, okay? And most of the time it creates that spark because one of the sides feel jealousy straight away, you know, jealousy when I'm shooting a photo shoot, and these are mature mind and everyone is accepting. So then the husband feels very proud of his wife, and he feels like, wow, I'm such a lucky guy because she's so beautiful, and this guy who's the model, and I choose the model who's masculine, big guy, big guy. I choose this type of models because ladies have such preference. I did not have many requests for a small size. I have requests for a small size only when there is some kind of a fetish photo shoot experience. That is the situation, right? But most of the time, like I say, women would like to have something in opposite as their husband or as their partner, something different, right? And that is why black guys are very popular for cowgirl fantasy, you know? So that's the thing. When talking about ladies now, right? Ladies create an escort experience, a standard dating experience, right? The dating experience could be just an erotic lingerie shoot, okay? That is an option. But very often, guys would like more, okay? So, like I say, the guys created the service because they asked me too many times if I can join them on set that they need help, they need help. And so people who need help, I can sense them and feel them already on the phone, or by the email. I can just recognize them by the things they are asking me, okay, and the way they're telling me what they want, okay. So that is why I recommend to have a model, because model will make a photo shoot much easier. The model will make a part of you a real man, like you couldn't, create it for yourself through the life. The model will help you and lead you and direct you through the shoot. That is why, for me, it is much easier. This is not my job. I teach the models what to do when the client is with them on a set, on stage, and then it's less work for me because model taking care of the client. What I do is I just shoot the best moments and I record that on camera and the film. So yes, I do like photo shoots with hot and sexy models. Why? First of all, like I said, it's the easiest setup. Okay, the guy is not nervous. When he has a gorgeous lady next to him and she's, seducing him, playing with him, it's an arousal moment, it's great, and then it's just escalating. The energy is just escalating, right? Different models provide different services. Okay, so I would suggest clients to tell straight away what they want. Okay, it is not possible to book a girl for a dating, like this guy. He had a dating shoot, he wants something soft, sensual, this type of model. And then during the shoot, in the middle, he comes and said to me, and now I want to be dominated. And now I want her to become a dominatrix. This is not really with every model possible, okay? There is some personalities who are doing this kind of a flip emotion, right? But there are ladies who are in generally sensual. They can't just beat you up from nowhere, They don't know. They don't know the language. They don't know how to display this energy. They don't know how to put this guy on the edge. They don't know how to humiliate him. And they don't know. This is a specific service, right? So very often it's not possible. It happens vice versa, when the ladies book a guy, okay, and then they will say, oh, I just want him to be naked. I'm not going to do anything. I've planned this with my husband. We already discussed what we want. I'm going to do this and this and this. And I'm like, fine. And I'm booking a model who is going to be, assisting her. And I am saying and informing that person. And it's going to be a nude shoot for him, assisting the model, controlling himself, right? And so on. It's not easy for men. Okay, It's not easy. You know, photo shoot with the happy end, this is something what model would want, because model is also a human. And he is also touching 1 hour or 2 hours with the lady he's getting turned on. Okay, so it's like a torture. I don't really, how to say, have many guys who enjoy that, but I do have some, you know, so I can suggest. Very recently, I just spoke with one lady. She wanted to book a guy and beat him up, torture him. And she said that she has a budget for a shoot, but she is short on a model fee. Okay, and I always take money for a model. There was no shoot that the model was shooting, you know, for a very small fee or something. I really respect these people. Okay, people who work in adult business and selling their body, I really respect them. Okay, this is a very hard job, in my opinion. Okay, so I have this guy who wants to be beat up for free, you know, and tortured properly. Okay, so that's the thing. There are different kind of models, and especially guy models would lower the price. The ladies, not the case. Okay, but the guys will take a lower fee because this is the shoot that involves intimate adventure, and they're happy, very happy to come and for a very small fee, you know. And some will even write me when sometimes there is a lady, the client really hot, okay, sometimes, right? And so the model would say, "Oh, I would do this for free. I would do no, 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 no. How is it? It's not in my studio. Seriously, you know, has to be some responsibility and accountability. Right? Half an hour. I'm chatting and talking. This is the time to say hi, hello. Today's topic is about photo shoots for adults when they hiring models for their own adventure, for special intimate adventure, right? Okay, let me say quickly, sorry for shaking. Thank you for your hearts. I can see it. I love it. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, let me just quickly scroll this down and I say hi to everyone who is here. Thank you so much for joining me. God's love joined. God's love. That's true, you know. That's true. There are some information hidden, okay? And I found somewhere, I don't know, a long time ago when I wrote a blog about the love and about the God. Hi, hello, hi, hello. I prayed with my, I played. I played with my clam. Very important information here. Everyone needs to know this. Safe words. Safe, yes, I'm trying to use safe words. Yes, yes. Greetings and blessed day with love and respect. Take care and be beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. Hola, hola. Okay. Hi, hello, hi, hello, hi, hello. I'm taking questions. Okay. This is the time for you to ask about photo shoots with models. What's happening, how, and this. Okay. So this is the time for you. Right? While I'm checking, I will come to your message as well. Okay, photo shoots with models, right? So like I say, ladies are paid better than guys. Okay, ladies are more pickier than guys. Okay, ladies are checking the time. Ladies are paranoid about their identity because they're planning a future and a family. Okay, so when I'm shooting ladies, I'm not shooting their identity. Okay, what that means is I am or down there or somewhere that is not really visible, right? I also teach models how to shoot safer. Not to look at the camera is the first advice. I say don't look at the camera because it's not your shoot. You're not you're not paying me to shoot you. You're just assisting the client So do the job, right? Be very close to him. The closer you are to the client, clinged in, the less visible you will be, and the client will enjoy even more. Okay? So they would cuddle him, put their face into their neck, and it's not visible. You know? That's how it is. Okay? Now the guys, as the ladies were booked for non-penetration shoot as well as the penetration shoot. Okay, so I was talking about this situation when the ladies as well changed their mind and haven't finished, right? So they also able to book a guy just for a simple photo shoot, just for a just for a stimulation and experience with the guy, and then happens that they would really love the model. Okay, really love the model. So model being instructed. Okay, I had this client, to be fair, I can tell you about her. So she came, she lived somewhere close by here. I'm based in London and I'm in Richmond, and she was in Chiswick. Okay, and she came to the shoot and she said that I've discussed it, I want this and this with my husband. And then when the model arrived and started shooting with her, she really fancied him. So what she thought is this, that if she seduces him, he will have intimacy with her for free. Okay, and like I say, it happens, and it is possible that this could happen, right? So she's coming to me and she's saying, and you know what, now I expect to be on the ninth cloud. Okay, but she haven't paid for a ninth cloud, and I have not informed this model about this. Okay, I said, it's a different service that you've booked. I said you need to agree now with the model. If he is fine to shoot it, then we can carry on. But what people do not know is this. They book a simple photo shoot, right? Simple photo shoot. Naked, touching, sensual, role play scenarios. And then they suddenly want to do a penetration shoot, or anal for 1 hour or whatever. And they think that this is the same fee and the same price, you know? And that is not correct. Okay, it's not correct, because the more complicated the shoot, the more pricey it gets. Okay, so there are guys who are very cheeky when they come to the photo shoot. Okay, and what that means is, usually, and that's kind of an adult business like rule. Okay, if you are very fast to come, you need to tell, and then you will have a chance to do it twice. Okay, and that happens, and there are guys who are honest and straightforward, and for me it's fine. Okay, as soon as he admitted and said that this is something is with him, then that's fine. I can agree with the model. What happened is this: there are mature guys who are trying to be clever, pretend that they didn't come and they want to do another service again. But you see, they are working with a professional models, and models know. Okay, especially a woman. And one tantric model, she came and she said, this guy came, and he wants to have, more and more, and she feel that this is, like too much. He should have said something about it. He should have talked to her. He should have offered her some, because this is not how to say, charity. Models work and get paid for this service. The same like photographer or videographer who is standing there and filming this, right? So there are cheeky clients, very much cheeky. Okay, they think that adult photo shoot is like seriously very cheap situation. Okay, when I reply to the email, they would say, oh, that is way, way more than I've expected. I'm like, seriously? Go and buy a hot dog then. That's what I would say. And enjoy. And enjoy. Okay, let me just continue with this hi hello situation. Black men are the best for this style. Would I say the best? Would I agree the best? I would say really popular. Okay? I would say really popular. Okay, and I would say that they perform and they deliver. Okay, and I work with professional corn models, okay, who are black corn models who have experience, and I've never been disappointed of a shoot. Okay, so that's what I would say, right? If you wanna say the best, this is for you um, to decide, right? Okay. Hi, hello, hi, hello. I love you, so many of you here. I love it, I love it. Okay. Hi, hello, hi, hello. Hello, shout out from New York. New York. I haven't been in New York, but I have this plan in my head. And you know, so far everything happened the way I wanted in my life, and I'm sure that this is also will happen, so I must tell you. Okay? I'm planning to do an adult exhibition of my work. I want Paris, New York, London. Of course, I live here in London, and then I want Tokyo. I'm not sure about Tokyo, you know, but I thought these are top cities which I want, you know, to exhibit, and of course, I would like to exhibit in many other cities. But can you imagine a erotic gallery, color and black and white, for women, for men, for couples, for erotic fantasies, and then nude photography galleries, and then I think, you know, something what I thought before, but I'm not sure, you know, because I'm not sure if there will be many people watching, you know, cum shots, you know, erection and cum shots, you know, the whole and what I was planning is to have this, because before we had exhibitions with the painting, and now you can just have a display. You can have TVs, or you can have a light show, and you can just project images on the walls, okay, which will be even more amazing. Okay, so I have these plans, and there are people who are coming along together, you know, some people doing lighting, some people doing this, so yeah, I have this in my head. Okay, the reason why I want this is because I imagine that people will go to see my exhibition, and then they come back home and make babies. And in that city where my exhibition was, there will be a childbirth rise. That's that's what will happen, right? But not only about the intimacy. You see, erotica in general is a repair. Okay, it's a repair. You can fix a lot of things in yourself and find out yourself if you go deeper. There is no coincidence that people are scared, okay, of intimacy, of you know, shooting adult photography, shooting boudoir, shooting boudoir, shooting erotica, because everything what is related with intimacy, it's kind of a negative experience. Okay, if we talk about words, there are all the swear words are related with something what is intimacy. Okay, so when we speak about intimacy, we do not even have that kind of a wild vocabulary to use. Everything is negative, you know. And it put us in a situation where it's or reproduction or porn and prostitution. Okay, that kind of a, you know, coin, you know, if you flip it. But there is other side, and it's something what I am working on with every client, with every person who comes to my studio. I'm working with their demons. You know, there are alter egos, there are demons who come along when you are growing up, when you go into your maturity. And then they are controlling you, controlling your behavior, controlling your relationship, controlling you are single or you with someone, who you choosing, what will be your likes, what will be your, you know, satisfaction points. It's a very huge topic. It's huge because it's like undiscoverable yet. You know, when you go to the ocean being like research, I don't know how many percent, and the rest is unknown. Or if you go to your brain, and the brain was researched, and I don't know, 20 up to 20%, and the rest is unknown. The same with intimacy, the same with sexuality, the same with erotica. People think that they know, okay, but in reality they go and watch and learn from porn. Okay, this is now the most maybe, you know, popular stream where they go and use this and consume this content. They need to learn something, they educate themselves, or they're getting a quick, you know, satisfaction turn on, right? So there are many things I would like to discuss and I would like to present, but you see, anyway, everything what you see with your brain. The eyes are just analysator, you know, that's how you accept the information, take the information. So when you are a visual person, and majority of us are visual, okay, people blind, then they can do hearing analysator, right? But majority of us see, and everything what they see, everything what we see gets recorded and placed in our archives, in our memories. That is why I create my artwork in a certain way, shooting in a certain way. Everyone who was my client was an experiment for me, you know? That is why I'm ready to prepare private galleries, memberships, and show you something different where the energy is. And where the energy is. Energy is with real people. Not in corn where people acting, pretending, you know. There is no relationship there. There is no connection in there. There is no, you know, love in there. They just doing it, you know. They just doing it. And there are a lot of studios where you arrive to the studio and you will be doing it, you know, not feeling it, because it takes time to get into that zone. It takes time, seriously. It takes few hours to completely process that negative information inside you, and you cannot be sexy if you feel negative emotion. You can't sit on two chairs with one ass. Or, even better example, you cannot be a little bit pregnant. You know? That's very good. I use this example because, or you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. You can't be like little bit in the middle, right? Okay, saying hi, hello, 42 time is just flying. Okay, hi from South Dakota. I hope you're having a great day. South Dakota, hi. I mean, one day I probably go around the US and just travel and see your country. How beautiful it is. I've been in many places, you know, in many places, sorry. I'm kicking. You're beautiful. Okay. Can I marry you, beautiful? Oh, that's a very interesting question. Okay, what is this? What about she-males? What about she-males? You know, I have these requests. Okay, I have this request. I found for me it's a bit complicated. You know, she-males and in general people who are not straight, right? They have a certain psychology type. Okay, they do. They all have a psychology type. She-males or gay people or trans people, in the olden days when we were cavemen, they've been eaten. Okay, because they do not have a role, a social role, and they would create a tension, you know, in that cave, and the older ones would notice that something is interesting with them, okay, and they have no role, they cannot be used, so that they would not survive, okay. But nowadays they do, they become designers, they become movie stars, they become makeup artists, they become hairdressers, they become, you know, singers, whatever, right? So now we're not eating, we don't do, you know, cannibalism. But the olden days was that. So psychology type is very important, okay, when it comes to shooting adult content, right? And I am choosing a certain psychology type which is less, how to say, more reliable and creating less stress. Okay? And this is the first time when I will say this word, less drama. Okay? So, so I can tell you, I work with gay people, okay, but with the females, I don't know. I couldn't find a language that we could speak on, I would say. And I chose not to. Okay, I have enough work with couples. Okay, couples, normal people, right? Chill atmosphere, relaxed. Okay, who wants to shoot with the models? I don't have to go there, you know. I've been in the stage of life when I wanted to experiment and I wanted to try everything, right? And I did. I did. Over 20 years, I did. So now I'm choosing the clients which one I want to work with, okay? That's the thing. So, like I say, erotic photography in general, adulthood is being determined, erotica determined by your psychology type, okay? There is a type who will never cheat. Can you imagine? There is a type, psychology type will never cheat, okay? And there is a psychology type who wants constantly new stimulation. And this type is very often visiting me and coming through my door, okay? The type who wants the stimulation very often pairs with the person who doesn't cheat, okay? So that person who doesn't cheat feels a very big responsibility to take that step, okay? When it comes to shooting nude photography, when it comes to opening up, when it comes to showing your body and insecurity, okay? So very often, okay, they come two different types, right? There are four main types and four additional, like, extra types, okay? And there are many mixtures of that, right? And by this type I can analyze and see what the arousal zones, okay, need to be touched, what I need to shoot, what that person likes. They can describe themselves, right? When we have an intimate conversation, they're saying what they like, okay? So some are very sensitive to skin, okay? Some are oral people. You can go into the Freud and see what that means. And usually we say the people who are expressing themselves with the words very well, right? With the mouth. Yes, and there are anal people, right? Anal people, they like everything from the back, okay? They go to the toilet and they spend a lot of time in there, okay? And then they do their job, they feel extreme satisfaction, you know, if they do, like, and the wife thinking, oh, again he's stuck in there, you know. So there are different people, okay? And adults, they don't know this, okay? They don't know that they've been classified, okay, yet. Okay, so this is something what I'm tapping in when I'm shooting my adult erotic photography. I am recognizing them, I am identifying them, I am analyzing them, I am shooting in the way that they could understand who they are. Okay, it's not about making few beautiful pictures. You know, I was thinking, I had this last shoot with one lady, and I'm going through that shoot, and we created 1,300 maybe images in 2 hours, okay? So that is how much I do. It's like a wedding shoot, okay? And then from that 1,700, she could see half of the session, her demons only, unrecognizable. She's doing all kind of weird stuff with her body, with her face. It's just all over the place. And she's got smashed and splashed. You know. So this is not that type of a shoot when you sit down and then they pose you and then you smile and then another side and then this and then this and then you go, and this is a boudoir. No, I don't do this. Okay, I'm trying to go to the bottom. What is it, happening with the person? Okay, usually we speak how they feel. Okay, and then they, in 5 or 10 minutes, they will tell me what is wrong with them. Okay, or what's happened to them in a recent past or in a childhood, or or what kind of the illness or situation they had. Probably they sense that I have a medical background, so they're giving me a full anamnesis before a shoot, which is fine. Okay, for me, it's the more information, the better. I would create the better content. It's 50 minutes. The time is flying with you. Okay, I have to finish now. I could talk and talk about adult photography, the whole evening. So, like I said, if you've been on my channel, I'm going live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a feeling that I have to come maybe one more time. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe I should do 3 times a week. Okay? Because there are so many things I want to tell you about adults, about erotica, about psychology types, about different kind of fantasies, about kings, and people who are, doing this photo shoot, how they feel and what's happening to them, right? Lady boys. Okay, so you have a very exclusive taste, right? You like or she-males or lazy boys. That's what you want to know. Okay? How hard is for them? Today topic is about couples. Okay? And couples shooting with models. And most of the time couples would want to hire a female model or a male model. There were some requests about trans people or she-males, okay? There was some requests, but that's not really popular at my studio. I started my life with the most popular topic, which is couple fantasy shoot, when the husband wants to share his wife with another man. Okay, that is the most popular shoot. And this is what you say it's not popular. Okay, it's like a very specific topic somewhere. Okay, somewhere. Okay, let me just quickly. You could tell me anything and everything. Very well. I will. I will. Oh my goodness, I am open. Right, marry me. I think I finished. I finished for today. It's been 15 minutes. It was very nice seeing you. It was very nice talking to you. I really liked your questions, even those about lady boys and females. It's not the topic, it's not the situation, but clearly some people are interested, which is fine. Okay. Like I said, for me personally, I did not find this experience very enjoyable to working with. Okay, so I skipped that thing. It's not the mainstream. There are very small, amount of people who would require this. Okay, so it's better go to onto an adult business site somewhere to find that information, because I am not informed in depth. Okay, if I had few shoots, it doesn't mean that I, had thousands and thousands of females or lady boys to talk to. Seriously, no. Okay, but I can tell you, I spoke with thousands and thousands of men about their fantasy. Okay, so that you can ask me about. Okay, I can tell you them. You stimulate me. That's great. You could. Okay, you are beautiful. Thank you so much today for your comments. Thank you so much. Stay on my channel. Join me on Telegram. I have a public channel which just started, and I'm inviting everyone to subscribe it. As soon as I reach 1,000 followers, I will be like seriously dedicating my time there. I'm being very slow and lazy because it was just few subscribers, not few hundred. Okay, but what I'm saying is I would like to have my own channel, and I would like to have my own auditorium. The reason why is because I'm absolutely moderating my speech here, and I am not able to tell everything the way I want. Okay, so you will enjoy me much more. Okay, joining on my Telegram. Find me on at Julia Wint Studio. Julia Wint Studio. This was very old one tag name that I've used. I still kept it. Okay. If you find me, that would be great. I am a man. You are a man. Good to know. Good to know. What is your fantasy? What is my fantasy? I have too many. I have too many. Okay? But it does not involve many people. Can you imagine? I'm very standard. Seriously, I'm very standard. And I'm straight. Okay? So you can imagine what that is. Okay, it was a verification here because I'm reaching 1 hour now and TikTok asked me to verify this. It's fine. Thank you so much for being with me. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. It was a live about adult photography couples shooting with the models, and I just scratched the surface. Okay, in this hour, I just started to talk about fantasies, and I just started to talk about what adults, couples like to do and how they like to experiment in the studio. And like I say, today people want to have more than boudoir photo shoot. They want more, and they can. Okay, it's just not everyone able to provide this. Okay, they can. At my studio, at some point when I was shooting couples, I realized that it does make sense to continue the shoot and let the couple finish what they started, okay? Because they started with passion, with kissing, with touching, they get turned on after a half an hour of doing this in front of the camera. And for me, it was so like illogical to just let them go with the boner home. And when I asked, and they said, yes, we want to do this. And that's it. And that's how it started. You see, because I have a medical background, for me, it's very easy to perform those shoots. And for me, it's, how to say, simple to be around this type of scenes and scenarios. And for my clients, it's very safe when they're with me. Okay? Because I have different energy. I work in medicine. So it's different, right? Okay. If I missed any questions and there was something important, I will get back to you. And the next time I will be live, it's gonna be Tuesday. Tuesdays and Thursdays. I might add another day. I don't know. Let me see, right? But thank you so much for today. It was great. Love you, kiss you, mean it. Bye.